Stitching Ewe and More podcast. I'm Amanda, your host, also known as Little Panda 518 on Ravelry. You can also find me on Instagram and Twitter under those same names. You'll find me more commonly on Instagram or Ravelry. I have a Twitter. I don't really use it that much. I'm kind of one of those people that I get on Twitter and read, not necessarily post a whole bunch of stuff. Sorry for kicking the camera there. So yeah, let's get started. I've already named today's episode. It's going to be Better Late Than Never. I meant to record over the weekend, and I will tell you about my weekend plans a little bit later. So I am actually recording on a Tuesday. I don't remember the day of the week. Well, I do remember the day of the week. I don't remember the date. It is March 3rd, a Tuesday, that I'm recording this. We're going to start the timer since I forgot to do that too. See, one of these days, this is episode 6, one of these days I'll have this down to where I can remember what all I need to remember. But for now, like I was saying, you can find me on Ravelry Instagram. On Ravelry, we also have a not a Facebook group. What am I thinking? I'm not on Facebook for the podcast. We have a Ravelry group, which you can search for Stitching Ewe and More podcast and find us there. I'm playing with a different camera angle today, trying to figure out the best one and to where you're not seeing just me all up in your face. Trying to show some of my more lovelies back here behind me. So if you like this camera angle a little bit better, let me know. I am doing this for y'all, so I'll take any of your input to make it how y'all want it. So Ravelry group, I had 2 people introduce themselves this week. I was so thankful. You know, our group is getting bigger slowly but surely, and we'll keep on working that, getting more people in there and involved and chatting it up. So I wanted to shout out to Owl's Flight and Crazy Knitting Fool for introducing yourself in the group this week. I love it. Start your own threads. I'm trying to keep a couple started. I'm on Ravelry quite a bit, so feel free to shoot me a private message if you don't want to talk in the Rav group, or start your own thread, comment on threads that we've got going, anything like that. So that's kind of the social media where you can find me, where I can find y'all kind of thing. If you want, I love following people on Instagram and seeing what you're creating. So if you follow me on Instagram, Little Panda 518, I will follow you back. I love seeing, you know, what other people are working on. I love getting on Ravelry and just looking through the project pages. You know, like Ravelry has that radar thing that you can turn on. And so as new projects are posted, it kind of cycles through them. I love seeing what other people work on. It gives me such great ideas. I've got, you know, some events coming up that I've talked about where I want to have some more inventory put together, since I do sell quite a bit of my items at different booths and things like that. So I'm always looking for ideas, whether I'm, you know, knitting or crocheting something for a family member, for their birthday, for Christmas, because, you know, it's already March. It's almost time to start thinking about Christmas 2015 if you haven't started yet. So that's always something to kind of keep on the back of your mind. It's never too early to start your Christmas crafting. And, you know, just the booths that I plan on doing throughout the year. I love having things on hand. It's just one of those things. I can look over here. I know you guys can't see it since it's off camera, but I've got, you know, 2-3 totes packed of stuff that's already made. And I love just being able to, you know, go through it, see what I've worked on, and just kind of see how my progression as a crafter has changed from, so, you know, some of the items that I made a month ago to the items I made a year ago. Because, you know, crafting's like anything else. You can always improve on the skills. There's always room for improvement. And so I just love being able to see, you know, where I've come from and look at the places where I'm going. So speaking about making things, let's start with my whips. One thing, this one. I think I talked about it last week. Oops, that way. Rainstorm Studios. If you haven't yet, pause, hop over to Etsy, Go look in her shop. She has awesome stuff. So my rainbow bag is hiding out in this one, which I've shown you guys. I think on episode 1 I've showed this off before. So I am making my lighting's kind of terrible. Let's see. I'll get this lighting thing figured out. Let's go over here. So it's a rainbow piece, so you kind of have the clouds here at the bottom, and then you have the puff stitch to make the clouds, and then it goes into the rainbow. And this is going to end up being like a throw size blanket by the time that I'm done. And yeah, I think that's maybe my one fully done piece, because what I've started doing is just making a bunch of the white pieces. So I probably have, you know, 5 or 6 of these done, and I've just kind of been throwing them in my bag. And then that way when I'm out and about, I only have to carry one skein of yarn with me. And so hopefully this weekend I'm hoping to sit down in one spot for a little bit and pull out all the rainbow colors so I can add the rainbow part. So I think I'm going to try to do, you know, like 5 or 10 of the little white pieces, the little cloud parts, and then get the rainbows put on that part. So I just have that going. This is kind of going to be one of those, I don't know, at this point it kind of seems like the never-ending blanket, and I'm not that far into it, people. So any words of wisdom on making motif blankets, feel free to share them. I know it's going to be a beautiful blanket by the time I get done with it. Just the whole having to make like 120 some of the full motifs, and then, you know, some of the I cannot talk tonight, y'all. I'm sorry. You know, part of the half motif so the blanket can be squared up. So I think I'm gonna work on getting myself a goal of getting, you know, so many. I need to stop saying that. Work on getting so many of the motifs done each week, and then that way the following weekend I can sit down and put all the color on it. So I think that may be one of the goals that I'm gonna shoot for. My other work in project is one that I am so excited about, y'all. So let me show you what's on the needles. Let me pull that up here. So I know you guys have seen this yarn before, but it may look, you can drag the bag off. I know the yarn's gonna look familiar, but you're gonna say, that looks really small. I'm just into the ribbing, but being that I only have one pair of sock needles right now that are this size, actually no, I have another one, but they're empty. Anyway, that's really little, so that only means one thing. I have a half finished object, and I could not be more excited. I don't have sock blockers yet, so we're gonna just have to do the whole cute little hand as a foot thing. So I've got this going on. I did the Fish Lips Kiss heel, which I loved. That's going to be my go-to heel for everything. I know it's the first heel that I learned, but it was so simple. It's going to be my go-to heel for everything. And then see if I can get up here. I did the star toe. I've never Kitchenered anything before, and I bought a book of sock patterns like a year ago. Sorry, I need to quit kicking the camera. I bought a book of sock patterns about a year ago when I was visiting my sister in Illinois. It's not a family trip unless we hit up a craft store. And she has a Joann's about 15-20 minutes from her house. So of course, you know, what do? Sister's off work, we grab mom, we get in my car, and we drive to Joann's. And they were having this huge book sale, and at that time is when I really got into, I really wanted to knit myself a pair of socks. So I got the sock yarn and I got the sock book that day while we were there. I didn't get the needles yet, but I saw the pink and gray. I was going to say I'm not really a pink person, but today that kind of doesn't bode well because my project bag is pink, my hoodie's pink. This is cold, Amanda. I was going to try just to wear a cute little t-shirt again, but in my craft room it's really cold. The weather outside sucks. We're supposed to be getting more snow tomorrow. Not looking forward to it at all. Where is spring? I want spring. I'm so over this being cold. In the state of Arkansas, no one can drive. They hear an inch of snow and like the entire state shuts down. So it's kind of funny growing up in Kansas because I would like drive to work at like 2 o'clock in the morning through 11 inches of snow. I remember that winter very vividly. So I just kind of giggle when there's like an inch of snow out and like everyone freaks out. But anywho, back to my socks. So I had gotten the stuff for these socks like a year ago. And you guys know it took me, you know, about a month to put the heel in. And then as soon as I got that heel in, the foot of the sock just flew. Now I do have really small feet. I wear like a 6. So of course they're not huge socks, but as soon as I got past that heel, like I trucked on. And I actually put the toe in a couple nights ago. I had the entire foot done. I think I finished the foot while I was at knit group last Saturday. And then I was working on one of my finished objects that I'll show you here in a little bit. So I didn't get to work on the toe until I slid the sock on my foot. And I'm like, oh yeah, maybe it's time for the toe. Because I'm not really using a pattern. I just kind of started with a stitch. I picked a heel and I did more stockinette. And then I dug out the book for the toe. Because I mean, it's a simple vanilla sock, so you don't really need a pattern to go off of. And I think I'm going to stick with the vanilla socks for a little while until I'm more comfortable with sock knitting. And for the next pair of socks, I think I need to change up the gauge a little bit. These fit on my foot. I can get my foot in them, but they're probably like maybe a stitch or two too tight to get over like the heel and the ankle part of my foot, which I mean they fit comfortably once I get them on, but if they were a stitch or two wider around, I don't think I'd have any problem getting them on and off. So that's going to be something that I play with my next sock until I figure out the perfect formula for my foot. And then of course, you know, my sister's already chimed in that she wants a pair of socks, and I joked with her on Facebook that I have to get used to knitting socks for me before I can knit for her massive foot size, because my sister wears an 11. Her foot is huge, at least compared to mine. So that's my story and I'm sticking with it. So she may get socks like 2 Christmases from now. That way she can't say, oh, you're gonna make me socks. I'm like, I'm not gonna promise anything. I'm gonna give myself 2 years and then I may make her a pair of socks. So see, sis, you're in this podcast too. It was funny, my sister had a night off work. My sister works night shift, and so when she's off, a lot of the time she likes to stay on her sleep schedule. So the kids are asleep, her husband's asleep, and she's the only one up in the house. And she binged watched and finally caught up on my first 5 episodes of the podcast. And it was funny because we were messaging back and forth. I think she was watching the first one while I was still awake, and she was messaging me different commentary throughout the episode. And so I was going to go to bed because I get up at 5:30 for work. And it was probably like 10:30, 10:45, and so I'm like, okay, I need to go to bed. But keep the commentary rolling and I will read it in the morning. So it was hilarious because I turned my phone on silent. You know, I went to bed, went to sleep, my alarms went off, and I looked at my phone. I'm like, holy cow, I have 25 messages. So I scrolled back to the top and I was reading through all my sister's commentary of my podcast, and it was hilarious because each one of her comments, I knew exactly what part of the podcast she was talking about. And so I think I'm gonna make that a tradition. So sis, every time you watch a podcast, send me your commentary because I think it's hilarious. So that's my work in progress. I only have those 2 things. I have my 1 crochet project and I have my 1 knit project. I have a lot of projects coming up that I want to work on and that I need to work on. I'm gonna get a drink of tea here real quick. Hot tea is always wonderful. So I have 4 finished objects as I pull them all out of my other handy dandy bag, which once again, is a Rainstorm Studio bag. I'm obsessed. I can't help it. So you guys haven't seen these at all. And they're all the same pattern. But I worked on some crocheted slippers this week. So for Christmas, I made my cousin requested a pair of slippers for her mom for Christmas. And so I did like the whole, like the foot, and then it was like a boot. And then the boot had like a little fold down thing. It's in my project patterns. It's like the woman's super slouchy slippers, I think. I've made a couple pairs of those, so jump over my Ravelry projects and you'll see those. But my cousin wanted, sorry, the cats are scratching at the door. I hope you guys can't hear that. My cousin wanted some slippers for her, but she said she wanted them more like socks than the actual slippers. So I used a free pattern from Red Heart. I was looking through Ravelry, having a hard time picking out which one, and I happened to look over and saw that the Red Heart package, or the Red Heart skein, had a slipper pattern. So I looked at it and thought it would be perfect. So this base part here, which is a double sole, so it's extra thick, so not all the cold is getting through to the foot. And then I just kind of improvised the sock part, just connected, did some decreases to where it would just kind of come up. And then of course I did the little loop on the back. Oh, excuse me, sorry about that, y'all. I did the little loop on the back so she could pull it up over her foot easily. So I made her 4 pairs because that's what she requested. So we have a green pair. It's kind of like a dark ferny green. And then we have a purple pair, which is amethyst. Which purple is one of those colors that it's really hard to get on camera, so this one really is purple. And then we have a black pair, which I need to clean and get cat hair off of, because black, I think black is a magnet to anything. And then we have a blue pair, and this is like a royal blue. There we go, that's kind of a little bit more true to color. So I have those 4 finished projects, and I kind of laughed because I'm one of those people that I crochet at such a current gauge. I never really have to do gauge swatches. Yeah, until I did this project. Lesson learned. No matter if you think you crochet to gauge, no matter what yarn you're working with, and I work with, these are in Red Heart. I figured they're slippers. She's gonna most of the time be wearing socks in them anyway. And once they're washed, they will soften up real good anyway. But I know acrylic the Red Heart acrylic stands up to just about anything. And it's double soled, so it'll soften up after a wash. But I made the biggest size. So this was the first one I made. Can you see how little this is? I have little hands. So my phone, it's a big one, but it's a note. That slipper is not much longer than my phone. And I looked at this and I recounted my cast on, and this is supposed to be a large. There's no way, because the pattern's written for adults, so there's no way that this could be a large. And so I finished it and I did 1 round across the top and I slid it on my foot. And this is almost too tight to get on my foot. So it was real fun because, like, even though I based the pattern off the Red Heart pattern off the skein, I had to do a lot of improvising and pretty much just kind of made it my own pattern. And I did try this on, and it's quite a lot larger than my foot. And I googled for typical fit sizes for females, and kind of gauging it off that and how long my foot is compared to what a size 10 should be, these slippers should fit my cousin no problem. So that is 4 finished projects. Well, really 8, but it's 4 pairs of slippers. So that's where most of my time was this week, was working on those slippers. So like I said, I've got some needle adjacent projects, adjacent hook projects coming up. My cousin also wants me to make her a king size blanket. So, and that one's kind of fun because she's kind of giving me free reign on what it looks like. She's like, I like these colors, you know, color A, B, and C. Don't care what it looks like, just want it in those colors. So I'm going to definitely have some fun with that. I'm going to sit down and figure out what shades of the colors that I want to use and then figure out a pattern. I may just do something, do kind of like a simple pattern, but have my cousin also ordered 2 headbands to go with the slippers, so I'm gonna hope to get those knocked out hopefully this week so I can either meet up with her or, you know, get these 2 or through another family member. And then I need to work on some baby booties. I've been asked to make a couple pairs of those, and baby stuff is so fun, and I don't know if it's just because they're so tiny and so quaint and cute, or if they just like fly off the hook and are done in like an evening. But I love baby booties that way. And then now that I have 1 sock done, I'm not like the typical, oh, I have second sock syndrome, I don't want to cast this on. I'm kind of the opposite. Like, I'm already itching to start my next pair of socks, even though I have another whole sock to go. So I have the yarn picked out for my next pair of socks. I won this, I didn't win it, but it was my gift from our knit group Christmas party this last year. And it's so pretty, and it was amazing that it came home with me because it's let me go this way. It's panda silk. And let's see if you can get those colors. It's really pretty blues and purples and, you know, kind of this goldish color. It's gorgeous, and I really want to knit it into a pair of socks, but every time I've heard someone talk about making socks they always have nylon in the yarn. And this is 50% bamboo, 53 superwash merino wool, and 5% combed silk. So will these hold up if I make them into socks? I'm not rough on my socks, and if I'm at home, I normally have slippers on, so I wouldn't be running around the house on carpet and tile in my socks. But is it okay to use a sock yarn that doesn't have nylon in it for a pair of socks? Because, I mean, these are gorgeous colors. Like, it's that purple, once again, that's kind of hard to get to show up on camera. There's kind of more of the color gradient. There was a lot of purple on the other side. But the yarn is so beautiful, and it's panda silk. It's calling my name. And I have 2 skeins, so it should make a pair of socks. This is Panda Silk by Crystal Palace Yarns. And I'm going to be one of those silly people that I'm keeping the yarn label no matter what, just because it has a little panda on it. So there's that. I have another beautiful yarn that is gorgeous. This was hand dyed by Love Knots, my friend Rachel. It is beyond gorgeous. It's pink and teal and gray. And some of the grays are a little bit purplish, which I love. I love when colors are tonal. And now it's one of those things that I don't know what to make, but it's so pretty. So this yarn sits next to the couch in my plastic drawers, and the drawers are clear so I can see it because I have cats and you can't leave anything out with cats. That's kind of why it's balled up all crazy, because I think a little kitten got to it. And I'll try to remember to put the pictures in here of how this hank started out. Let me just tell you, it took me 8 hours to get from picture A to this ball right here. So even if I don't remember to put the pictures in, which I will try, just use your imagination. Just think about 8 hours of untangling fingering weight yarn. My husband thought I was crazy. He told me to just burn it. And I'm like, nope, yarn, fiber, way too precious. My bestie dyed it for me, so I was not gonna burn it. He's crazy. So if you have any suggestions, I'm thinking maybe a shawl. I kind of want to do a hat, but then I'll have extra yarn left over. But I've really been wanting some fingerless mitts, fingerless gloves. So maybe I could do a hat and fingerless gloves. Or a shawl. I don't know. Get in the Ravelry group. Let me know what you think. It's a gorgeous variegated teal, pink, and gray. Kind of cuddle it a little bit. I love it. So yeah, if you have any ideas, let me know. Kind of think I have fiber in my mouth. So that is what I'm working towards. Let's see, next thing, I don't have any stash enhancements this week. I've been trying to be really good because I have lots of yarn. I'm trying to stash it down. And I think I'm going to start using the hashtag that some of the other podcasters are using. I believe it is hashtag stash down throwdown. I think it'd be pretty funny. I'm going to go look through some of those pictures after I get this edited and started the upload process. So I'm doing really good about working down. I think all of my 4FOs, that's all stash yarn. I normally keep a decent amount of Red Heart in my stash because I crochet a bunch of stuffies, and I just want to make sure that if a kid or just anyone gets one of my stuffies that it holds up really well. Because I know for me, I would always carry around a stuffed animal. I had more stuffed animals than God knows. Oh, I had so many stuffed animals. I had totes and bags, and I had stuffed animals everywhere when I was growing up. And Randy kind of giggled at me when we got married and moved in together because I still had stuffed animals. There is nothing wrong with being an adult and having stuffed animals. Absolutely nothing. So yeah, I just like to make sure that they will hold up to all the cuddling that they are gonna get. And you know, Red Heart softens up after a wash or two. So no worry, I don't worry about it then. I have kind of been working on some other crafts. Not really a whole lot of other crafts per se, but this bag likes to stick because it has t-shirt yarn instead of ribbon. It holds everything nicely together. It's just sometimes I have trouble getting in the bag. Alright, so here we go. Get them out of their handy dandy little thing. So I've made some stitch markers. Let's see if you can, there we go. I made 11 of these, and they're all different. I was just in the mood one day that I wanted to make some cute stitch markers. So there's that one. I really need to work on this lighting. I'm sorry, y'all. I need to go buy a lamp, another lamp or something. But I'm not going to show all of them to you guys since they're really little. I will take a picture of all of them. This one's really cool though. I have to show that one. Let's see. I don't even know how well you guys can see that. There we go. I'll take a picture of all 11 of them that I made and put it in the video here. Or at the end where I remember to do it. So that's kind of the other kind of crafty project I worked on this week. Let's see. Do other crafts. I think I'm going to start a new segment each week. Sorry, I keep looking down at my notes so I don't forget anything. I'm going to start a podcast shout out because I watch a lot of podcasts. I watch pretty much nothing but podcasts anymore. There's probably like maybe 2 or 3 shows that I actually watch on TV, and we DVR those. So Hubs and I watch them together kind of later in the evening. So I get home from work and the Xbox comes on. I tell it to go to YouTube, and I'm on podcast the rest of the night. So this week I wanted to shout out to 2 podcasters. I sent out a couple messages this week because on Ravelry, just to kind of get to know some of the other podcasters. Because you know, it's kind of a little cool community to be a part of, and so I reached out and invited them to come over and watch my podcast and let me know what they think. I can't talk. I can't think. So my shout outs this week, the first one goes to Canadian Knitter. She's got about 18-19 episodes out, and I totally binge watched them in like 3 days maybe and got all caught up. She's entertaining as all get out. So that's definitely one to, she focuses mainly on knitting. I don't think I've heard her talk about any crochet yet, but if you want a knitting episode or a knitting podcast, she's definitely one to really get out there and watch, and it's not going to take that long to get caught up because she only has like 18 episodes, and she tries to stay between about 30 and 45 minutes, which makes it nice. My other podcast shout out goes out to Junk Yarn. I was watching, I was aiming to only do 2 shout outs, but I was watching Little Bobbins, and she shouted out to Junk Yarn. So of course, what do? I get on YouTube after I finish the episode and I hop on over, and Junk Yarn has 3 episodes. I love watching her shows. She seems so friendly through the camera. She's talking with you and not at you. She has an amazing demeanor for a podcaster. Absolutely love it. She only had 3 episodes, which I was kind of sad because I was ready to sit and like watch her podcast like back to back to back to back. But I made it through her 3, and I'm anxiously awaiting for her to release her next podcast. She's definitely going to be on the top of my list to watch. And it's so cool because I got in her Ravelry group and we kind of chatted back and forth a little bit, and we're going to actually swap postcards. You know, she's here in America, but she's over on the East Coast. I'm in Arkansas, so I'm going to try to get out sometime in the next couple days if I don't get snowed in. But like I said earlier, the weather's been really nasty, and I have a strong feeling I'm going to be snowed in. So then I'm just going to say the next time I can get out and get to a store that has some Arkansan postcards or something like that, I'm gonna get her a postcard and get that in the mail because I think that'll be super cool. And of course, you know, I always talk about Southern Girl Knits. She's amazing. She's awesome. So there are my, I guess, 4 for this week for my podcast shout outs. Let me know what other podcasts y'all watch. I'm always looking forward to adding another one to my lineup. Like I said, I watch podcasts more than anything else nowadays, so I'm always looking for a new one to add. So let me know what podcasts that you guys like to watch. I do watch a lot of knitting podcasts, just because like one of the reasons why I started this podcast is there isn't a whole lot of crocheting podcasts out there. And if you'll notice in the picture that I either put up with the stitch markers or will be putting up here in a little bit, they're all lobster claw. And I'm going to start making more stitch markers, and I think I'm going to put them up in my shop too. But all of mine are going to have lobster clasp because for crocheting you can't have a solid ring for a stitch marker. So that's why I love having the lobster claw on the stitch markers. So I'm going to definitely be working on some more of them. I think that ends my craftiness, my crocheting knitting. I'm going to go into Panda Chatter. That's kind of where I talk about me a little bit and my life. So if you don't want to stick around, thank you for coming back for episode 6. But I'd love if you hang out with me and chat a little bit more. So thank you for staying if you did. I'm going to start off by this cute little Lulu. She's kind of been hanging over my shoulder. And like I told you, it's okay to be an adult and have stuffed animals. And she even smells really good. And no, I'm not crazy. Lulu is a Scentsy Pal. I think that's what they're called. She's one of the stuffed animals from Scentsy, and then she velcros or zips in the back for a scent pack. I've Zen Garden in her right now, and it's fabulous. But my sister, along with her other 5 million jobs, is also a Scentsy consultant. And I saw that they were getting Lulu the sheep, and I had to have her. I think she's called Lulu the lamb, but lamb, sheep, same difference to me. So she's my cute little buddy. She sits on my drawers out in the living room so I can see her and smell her every day. So as soon as we're done podcasting, she's going to go back out to the living room with me. Oh, I love the way she smells. Okay, so what else did I do this week? Once again, we went to Wee Betty's. It's the little English, Scottish, it's more Scottish than English, but it's our little tea shop that my knitting group has gone to. It's in Jacksonville, Arkansas. We went, it was fabulous. We spent about 3 hours just knitting and chatting and hanging out. I got there about 10:15. I had a fruit scone, was fabulous, had some hot tea, and I learned for English tea or proper tea, you put milk in it. I'd never had hot tea with milk in it before. It was pretty yummy. So I went through like 4 or 5 little pots of tea, It was quite fabulous. I also ended up, when you're sitting in a restaurant for a couple hours, it's one of those things, oh, I'm still kind of hungry. Oh, let me have that. And I had been talking about getting the potato fritters for a little while. And I finally broke down and ordered them, and it was like the best thing ever. It was really thick slices of potato dipped in a batter and then deep fried. It was deep fried yumminess. And of course I shared with everyone else there, and they enjoyed them too. So it was quite tasty. When we were there, not this week, but the week before, I got some biscuits, little cookies that go with my tea, and they're quite yummy. I saved the package so I could show you guys today. So as I've been, ever since we started going to the little tea shop, I have been obsessed with tea. And every morning before work, I start the kettle, I get ready, I get dressed, I brew my hot tea, and I run out the door with my hot tea. So I've been on this major tea kick, which has been fabulous. So there was that. So yeah, I think we're going back to Wee Betty's again this weekend. So if you're here local, feel free to come out, join us, hang out with us, get to know us. We don't bite, I promise. We may steal your food. Not really, just joking. It's a cute, adorable little place. Let's see, what else? So fabulous time at the tea shop. Oh, so Rachel was kind of joking with me about when my story about meeting her was going to come on, since I did the story a couple weeks ago about how I met my husband and all of that fun jazz. So here's Rachel, here's your shout out. Love Knots, you can find her on Facebook and Etsy. So I know I've kind of mentioned before, we've known each other, I think we're going on about 8-ish years. I don't remember the exact time that we met, but it's probably been 8 or 9 years. We have yet to meet each other in person, but we're hoping to change that in a couple weeks. If weather and plans work out, hopefully we'll get to meet in person here in about 2-ish weeks. So we'll see. I'll definitely fill you guys in. So I'm kind of a gamer girl. Not so much here lately because I need another pair of hands to knit and to game and crochet at the same time. And so the gaming's kind of gone a little to the wayside. But when I was younger, in high school and college, I played a lot of World of Warcraft. Like, it was to the point I would get home from school, I would set my homework around my computer, I would log right in, I would play for hours, I would be playing with one hand, I'd be trying to do homework with the other hand. I would stay up until 11 o'clock, midnight on the weekends. I'd be lucky if I made it to bed by like 2 or 3. And of course on weekends I'd get up and do it all over again. So I played non-stop. I got in a guild with, at the time, the hubs was the boyfriend. And he was away at college. So it was kind of our way to spend time together too, is we'd game together, we'd have raids together. Well, Rachel we ended up in the same guild. And of course, at that time there weren't a whole lot of girls in the guild. We were like 2 girls of like, I don't know, it was like 2 girls to like 40 guys. It was kind of crazy. And so of course, what do? We band together. We talked all the time. We talked through the computer. We hung out in-game. We played together. It was tons of fun. And then, she had her little man, Ewan, and she kind of cut back on the gaming, and we kind of lost touch for a little bit. We didn't really talk a whole lot, but we still had each other on Facebook, and we'd say, hey, how's it going, every once in a while. And then she started a crochet page, I don't know what, Rach, 3-4 years ago. And that's kind of when our interests kind of came back together, and we started chatting about, oh, what are you working on? Oh, what are you working on? And that's kind of how we came back together. So even though gaming at first brought us together, crocheting and the fiber world have definitely kept us together. And it's going to, the fiber world is going to lead us to actually being able to meet in person, which I think is, so yeah, it was fun. I get random gifts in the mail. There was, I think it was for my birthday 2 years ago, I think. Rachel sent me this adorable panda necklace, which it's put up in a cute little box in my bathroom right now so my cats don't like demolish it. So side note here, I made a jewelry hanger off of Pinterest and I have it hanging where I thought was high enough to where kittens cannot get at it. Bad thinking. Apparently the kitten Denarius has like major vertical and she broke one of my Swarovski crystal bracelets. So I'm trying to keep necklaces and bracelets off of that now. So yeah, okay, off side note tangent. So yeah, with Rachel, I can't wait to meet her. I know she can't wait to meet me. We talk all the time. We Skype. I Skype with her little men. They're super adorable and I just can't wait to meet them. So, hi Rach again. So there is the How Love Knots Met Little Panda story. And I have actually talked for way longer than I was planning. Sorry about that. So I'm gonna actually grab my tea, grab my Girl Scout cookies that the husband told he could not touch, and I'm gonna say keep on stitching, y'all.